One more question. Go.
So after you're extended ready, you do your shoot. Next thing we're taught is to scan.
Yeah.
Do you teach it at the extended ready or bring it in?
No, same thing. So I shoot this guy. He's down on the ground. I want to break my focus. I've got this behavioral focus. Here's the trick. Go watch a bunch of dash camera videos. If the agency can afford dash camera videos, they can afford shoulder mics. So here's what I want you to look for. I shoot a guy, he goes to the ground. The behavior you're usually going to see is approaching, moving back to the car for safety, or angling for a different view. And then you're going to see this. When you see the officer reaching for his shoulder mic, that's going to be your clue that the officer knows this is no longer an immediate threat. It's a pretty good behavioral cue. You can't get inside the guy's head, but if he's reaching for his shoulder mic, he's not in the middle of a fight. Make sense? Well, has he done this before he did this? Almost always no. We do train, we tell people to scan and assess and all that stuff, but what we don't teach people to do is break their focus on the first threat. And go back to what I was saying before. If I'm psychologically focused because the guy tried to kill me and I may have just killed him, and I'm behaviorally just, that was stressful, that was a big deal, that hasn't happened before, right? And then I'm psychologically or physiologically, I've got this reduced input relative to the input that I've got in the center of my field of vision, so I'm less likely to pick up motion and see things over there. So I really need to, and I've got the gun out still, right? So I've got to really train to bring that gun in. And if I train to bring the gun in, it's going to open up my field of vision. It's going to remind me that I'm no longer fixated in a fight. Those of you who were just in my last session and we were doing the moving thing, you know, like for, I don't know why, I don't understand the science behind it, but you shoot from the kneeling, right? You shoot the A box, you come back in, and then I'll say that I want you to get back up. And like, I don't know, 25, 30% of the people, they'll go like, try to trick me. They'll go like this. Like it's a scene out of Miami Vice. What the fuck? If you need to shoot the guy, shoot the guy. You obviously don't need to shoot the guy now, so keep the gun in close while you're moving, right? But some guys will just, because, that's the sound I make when they do it. See, why are you driving the gun out while you're moving? I don't even understand that. Like if you need to shoot the guy, shoot the guy. If you don't need to shoot the guy, keep the gun in and move and start moving your head. Learn to break focus on that first threat. People hate that, right? But why do we do that? Some guys in the training industry even teach people to stay on the target, count to 3 or something, and then do your assessment. Well, first of all, if I'm wagging the gun around at extension, I'm still fixated on the gun itself, right? Plus, I'm blocking part of my field of view, so that's no good. So we want to get the gun in. I don't want to drop the gun here or even here, because now when I come back into my shooting position, I'm swinging up instead of driving out and getting my shoulders set. But some guys are teaching people to stay on the target. How many of you have ever done a multiple target training drill like El Presidente or something like that? It's about everybody, right? How many of you train to assess in between the targets when you do El Presidente? Right? How many of you are shooting the first target, shooting the second target, shooting the third target? Right? Probably nobody, because time's going to suck. You can't time assessment. So what do? Pop, 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 reload for no reason, pop, 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 and put that on YouTube. Right? Or do-over. Right? So, but why? Why are we doing that? Because it's fast, because we can time it, because it's fun, because it's scalable. Go back to the very first thing I started talking about. It's a metric that we can look at objectively and compare scores over time. But who cares? Because if I look at a bunch of videos of multiple guys robbing convenience stores, what happens when I start shooting that first guy? Those two guys decide they don't want to be bad guys anymore. Or at least not right now. They usually run. So now I'm pop. Where'd that guy go? So I'd much rather train, and maybe 2 shots didn't take care of it. So I shoot that guy to the ground. Now I'm going to pull in, start moving, and find that next threat, if there is one, and then address it again sequentially as another first threat. So that importance of breaking your focus on the first threat is what's really missing from teaching assessment. And you're looking for 4 things. First thing is what? What's the most important thing I could see when I break my focus on the first threat? What's the most important thing I can look for? Another threat. Somebody I need to shoot. What's the second most important thing?
People you don't want to shoot.
Who said what?
People you don't want to shoot.
Sort of. But there's a really important category of people I don't want
Witness
to shoot.
or witnesses?
Witness. Check it out. So I shoot this guy to the ground. I turn and look to my right and I see a guy with a gun. What do I do now? Right? I don't know. So that second most important category, first category, guys I need to shoot. Second category, guys I don't want to get shot by. right? Because I may look there and there's a guy with a gun. I can't shoot, right? I can't shoot, guy with a gun, shoot. This is part of that cognitive process. And go back to the very first thing I started talking about. Shooting skills in isolation, pop, 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 reload, pop, 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 pop. Who cares? I don't care about it. Because that's never what we see applied in the real world, right? We have 2 decades of officers shooting really cool qualification scores here, averaging 85, 90% as an agency, and then averaging 16% on the street, because their shooting on the street looks nothing like that choreographed qualification course. So we stopped doing that, right? Same thing, why are we still doing multiple targets with pop, 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 when we know there's 3 targets, or 6 targets, or this is fun, this is a game, this isn't training. It's certainly not training for multiple targets when we're doing these 3-gun things, right? Go watch some of the videos I've done with Latham. The series is called Worlds Collide. The defensive guy, competition guy, look at what we're doing. Because what we're talking about doing in a lot of these is breaking that focus, breaking the choreography, and actually starting to process information. So that's the big thing with one of the reasons we avoid it. Because so now I got this guy, you be the cop. You're the bad guy. I shoot the bad guy. I'm doing this in my assessment. Am I about to get shot? Fuck yeah, I'm about to get shot. Because if you just saved the theater full of kids watching Finding Nemo, and that's an old one, but whatever, you know what I mean? So you just saved this theater full of kids, and now you're doing this in case there's other threats. You look like a guy who's killing kids in the theater, right? This guy might get a verbal warning. This guy isn't getting a verbal warning. This guy is almost certainly getting a verbal warning, and this guy, we don't even know that he's got a gun, right? As a police officer responding, this guy is just a guy. We'll find this later, but I'd much rather find it later like that than see this guy and have to shoot the good guy that just saved the kid. Because I really don't have much choice. Finger on the trigger, swinging the gun through the crowd in an active shooter situation, this isn't how you assess. This isn't how you assess either. Pull that gun in, break focus on that thing, start looking around. You can check him, I get it, down but not out, but I don't want to fixate on him so much that this guy is the new problem, or that the cop showing up thinks I'm the bad guy. So I need to learn to break my focus. The first thing is guys I need to shoot. Second thing is guys I don't want to get shot by. Third thing is people you want to help that fit in that holster. Fourth thing is position of advantage. People say cover or concealment. What do you need to have cover? You can't have cover unless you have what? Where are the bullets coming from? The threat. So I checked that box. If I don't have a threat, I can't have cover. Make sense? So if I shot that guy and I run over here, that's awesome unless he's the new threat. So it's not cover, we call it position of advantage, right? If I'm here and I shoot a bad guy, this is not a position of advantage. I don't know who the fuck all you are have a gun, right? And I have to look over here and then I have to look over here. And this guy's way too close, right? So if I move over here, now this starts to give me an advantage where I can start to see more people. Nobody's within 2 arms reach. Right? Now I'm in a position of advantage relative to there. It's still not awesome, but it's better than where I was. So we say threat, person you don't want to get shot by, person you want to help, medical, whatever, just move people out of the way, get away from the door, don't worry about his gun, leave it there, get away from him, and then position of advantage.